Dear students, good morning. So, welcome to Good Morning Laex. Let's start the discussion today. Today is, I think, 17th August 2019. The topic for discussion today is governance, good governance, and then e governance. We also have developmental issues. Among the developmental issues, we need to talk about SHG movement in India and challenges towards the SHG movements in India. Now, governance, how the questions have come up before in this. They are asking about participation, how is important to governance, and governance, why it is essential for development. These are the questions which are coming up. So it means participation and governance, development and governance, democracy and governance. So it means various higher variables are taken and how the governance is an instrument towards these higher variables is being asked as a question. Now, in this context, what the governance consists of, if you understand, you can connect that with various variables like development, etc. So, governance, it consists of laws, policies of the government, and to run these laws and policies, we need certain institutions, and these institutions have to set certain process and procedures in order, and there have to be certain people to run these process and procedures, and finally we have to create something called impact on the citizens. This all thing comes as the process of governance. So when governance process procedures everything are set in order, then it all the factors which we take into consideration are accountability, transparency. These are the two important things we take into consideration to set the process procedures in order. Now today we are talking about more variables, that is called citizen centricity, and other factors we are considering are citizen centricity. So all these factors we consider as important for governance. So in this context, when we go further into governance, the questions are participation and governance. When we talk about participation and importance of governance, the first thing is we need to talk about a concept called co-governance. Co-governance means the citizens and the administration, they shall feel each other as partners in governance. This partnership in governance, we call it as co-governance. And after the co-governance, the next part, participation, it has got a democratic value. When the citizens are participants in governance, automatically the legitimacy of that work is going to improve. So the democratic value of the work is bound to increase. And third is developmental effectiveness. Community ownership of the resources or collective endeavor towards certain stated objectives by the community, it is always good for developmental effectiveness. So participation also brings in another factor which is called as social capital. The participation is a reflection of the social capital and also is essential to build the social capital in the society. And the social capital also has economic value and value for governance, value for development, value for the stability of a given society. And in Indian society, especially, we have many barriers for participation. You know that caste, religion, gender, there are many barriers. So, if we can break these barriers, obviously, the participation is an important tool for governance. And then, administration taking the sensitivity of the citizen into consideration obviously will enable the greater quality and impact of the administration onto the citizen. So, this is what we call it as citizen centricity. So, this citizen centricity is based on sensitivity of the people, and the next is participation of the people. So, in this context, in Hyderabad, We have this Maitri, where the citizen and police participate with each other in reduction in crime. So Bagidari in Delhi. This is also example for citizen participation as in community management. In Nagaland, Communitization of Services Act itself is been passed. The objective of this act is to ensure the participation of the citizens. And citizen participation is critical for accountability. We have this social audit as an example. So, and then citizen report cards in Bengaluru and participative budgeting. This exists in Porto Alegre, Brazil. All these are examples that the participation can create higher impact towards accountability in the public administration. And the next is participation also brings in transparency. So, participation leads to awareness, and awareness creates that is the necessary understanding of the government systems and processes. So, the participation is an important requirement for transparency. Transparency nurtures participation, participation nurtures transparency. So, these are the points we need to keep in mind. Now, what are the weaknesses of the governance? As I said to you, there are many factors which are hindering the participation. Now, so whatever the factors that are hindering the participation that has to be addressed. And in India, the biggest weakness to the participation is institutional weaknesses. So there are many institutions in India, but most of these institutions they suffer from the weaknesses in their systematic establishment. Simple example: recently, if you saw information commissions, the autonomy of the institutions was broken just to exercise the executive authority and control over them. So institutions are getting politicized. The integrity of the institutions, once it suffers, governance is expected to suffer. Third is politicization of the institutions is another factor. So many of the times, institutions are filled with the people who have got political bent of mind rather than organizational bent of mind. They are more interested with their political givings rather than organizational foresight. So politicization of institutions is another biggest weakness in Indian system. And the fourth is if institutions have run, the trained manpower are essential. In India, the training, skill development, these are not given too much of emphasis. We need to ensure training, skill progress, everything with regard to institutional management. Now, especially today, overlap or lack of clear distinctions between the institutions is important thing. So today in the governance, more collaborative approach has come up. Collaborative approach means we have private sector, public sector, and then civil society. All are collectively functioning. So this collaborative approach towards governance needs clear distinction of responsibilities and also clear ensuring of accountability systems. Simple example, if you take public private partnerships, now they are not under the purview of the CAG audit. CAG cannot audit them. Though the various committees recommended for this, still they are out of the purview of the CAG audit. It means the traditional accountability mechanisms which we have created, these are unable to solve the issues of the present day new governance institutional structures. And let's take regulatory authorities. These are the new governance institutions in the case of LPG era. But however, these regulatory institutions have huge drawbacks of their own. Competition Commission of India, if you observe, there are no right people manning them. Even the people were there. There were no proper vision to manage this one huge 2 trillion economy. We need a strong institution like Competitive Commission of India. But however, Competitive Commission of India is managed by an IAS officer of Joint Secretary level. So this all shows weakness of the institutions. And in the new era, the world existing institutions are unable to transform. The new institutions which are coming into existence, They do not have proper checks and balances or accountability controls. So that's why institutional weakness is one major issue. So in the institutional weakness, what we talk about, one is bureaucratization of institutions, then politicization of institutions, and third is accountability gaps in the institutional management, and fourth is capability issues of the institutions. Fifth is overlapping responsibilities of the institutions. All these we need to talk about when we talk about the institutional weakness towards the governance. And further to this, what are whenever a question comes up as how you improve the governance in XYZ, always talk about these things. Governance can be improved one through participation and then rule of law. So create proper rules in place, laws in place. Everyone, if they bring follow that, it brings in something called predictability in its operations. This predictability is essential to run the systems and processes. Third is let engage all the people. That is consensus orientation. So citizen engagement or civic engagement is important for governance. And then create the administration to be responsive. This responsiveness, it means citizen centricity. The responsive administration means it is citizen centricity. And we need to have efficiency and effectiveness. It means that we have to ensure the best outcome from a given work, and also we have to ensure the same outcome at the least cost possible. It means make the administration cost consciousness of the work which they are doing, and also make it outcome oriented, and bring accountability and transparency, and then also bring in inclusiveness in governance, equity. Just take care of the people who are left out. So, marginalized sections, these all need to be specially focused. So, when you keep these eight factors in mind, you can suggest various steps towards improving the governance. So, these are the points you need to remember whenever a question related to governance comes up. So, if you remember all these points together and the examples which I have stated to you, it can give you a good answer. And the next is, let us talk about self-help group movement under the developmental issues. So, how this SHG movement has come into existence? What are the major root causes for this SHG movement? One is community-centric life of the Eastern society. So, Western society's development is based on the materialistic capital, but Eastern society's development is based on social capital that developed surrounding the communities. So, let's build this community centric social capital. That is the first thing. And the second thing is let us also ensure the something called as there is another paradigm called as grassroots level developmental movement through microfinance. This is what is come in the Bangladesh, that is called Grameen Bank experiment. And then gender is started playing a prominent role in the developmental initiative. If gender is not participating, if development is not engendered, then it is endangered. So gender is an important factor in the developmental exercise. All these things have nurtured into one effective movement that is called as SHG movement, self-help group movement. So the self-help group movement, what are the challenges we have? Again, the voluntary participation has to be there. Today government forces the participation. No, forced to induced participation means what? Now if you become the SHG member, dwakwa member, you get money from the government under various schemes. All these are induced participation. So there has to be entrepreneurial spirit and voluntary participation. And then confidence of the bank is important. The most successful model is bank SHG linkage model. So we need to work on this bank SHG linkage. In the confidence of the banks is very much important. But today we are seeing the loan waivers, which is killing the banking culture in the SHG movement. So, a strong bank SHG linkage can make it successful. The Kudumbashree in Kerala is an example for this. And voluntary participation has to be encouraged. So, early models of the SHG were very successful when the government was not involved because of the voluntary participation of the people. And the third thing is the microfinance movement. If it has to be successful, the interest rates have to be kept low. As of now, interest rates are around 30 to 40%, shall be brought in less than 10%. So, if the interest rates are low, then the credit takeaway will increase. That has to be ensured. And further to this, the SHG movement has to be evenly spread out across the country. So there is an uneven spread out. It means more and more we are seeing the SHG movement in South Indian states, not in the North India. More than 50% of the SHG movement is in three states in India. So that's why SHG movement has to be more evenly spread. And these women, if they have to become entrepreneurs, what is required? Training is required. So the training need to be emphasized. So in this context, Swarna Jayanti Gram Swarojgar Yojana, so SGSY. So the funds, if you see, no funds are being earmarked for the training. So this is a huge managerial activity. So that's why training need to be emphasized. Now today, by correcting these things, there is SHG2, that is a second phase of the SHG movement which has come into existence, which we need to understand. So these are the things which we need to keep in focus when we talk about the SHG movement. Right. So these are the things for discussion today. And tomorrow again we will take up the class because 2 days I did not take up. Tomorrow also we take up the class around at the 8 o'clock at the same time. So tomorrow also we will be having a discussion on this e-governance and other topics of the governance syllabus. Now, tomorrow we will start that particular discussion. Tomorrow also we have the discussion of the questions which are given in 180 days program and 100 days program. We'll make all the questions and discuss them and close this particular week. So, as usual, because as we lost on 15th and 16th, we will cover it up tomorrow. And anyone who wants to join in this, so 375-234-9120. So just download a Zoom meeting and join meeting. In joining of the meeting, you press this number at 8 o'clock in the morning. So sometimes it will be at 7:30 in the morning. So somewhere it will be between 7:30 8. Try to, I will just announce that in the class. You can have this 375-234-9120. Thank you very much. Have a great day.